another illuminating episode of Pleasure Principles, where we explore the tender, wild, and often unspoken landscapes of intimacy, sexuality, and self discovery. Yeah. So, dear listeners, today's guest is someone who truly embodies the art of living many lives in one, the brilliant, soulful, and refreshingly candid Padmini Pandya. So, welcome to the show, Padmini.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Amazing, amazing. So Padmini, like before we start our conversation today, because today's topic, I believe, is uh, something which we should all know about, talk about, and spread as well. So before we delve deep into this discussion, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all the listeners. Dear listeners, Padmini is a storyteller, strategist, and the organizational psychologist, spiritual explorer, and the creator of YouTube channel Pieces of Miss Minnie, where she fearlessly shares her stories of love, loss, identity, dating, and rediscovering herself across the continents and the dimensions. And dear listeners, today we are leaning into one of the most timeless, complicated, I would say, complicated and deliciously uncomfortable questions that many of us wrestle with. Yes, like when should one have sex with someone that they have started to date, right? So, dear listeners, pour a cup of tea or coffee, whatever you like. Open your heart and get ready for a conversation that might just shift your perspective forever. So, welcome to the show again.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. So Padmini, I mean, uh, like, let's start with that curiosity where it lives. Like, when we start dating someone new, why does the question of when to have sex, this quote unquote, uh, carry so much weight for so many of us? What do you say?
I actually think that it doesn't carry enough weight for enough people. I would actually say the reverse. I think everybody has gotten very casual about it. And I get that, there's so many variables. Like people are in
Mm,
different places. Some people, in different ages. How a 25-year-old looks at sex is maybe not how a 45-year-old looks at sex, is not how a
yeah.
65-year-old looks at sex. And it depends on where they are in their journey. Are we talking about, are they just getting out of a divorce, or are they, in their 20s and dating around, but are they doing it because they have, you know, are they motivated more by their physical desires, or are they actually motivated more by finding a real relationship?
Yeah.
I would say, a blanket rule that, like, at least a guiding principle. Not, I hate to say rule, because like ultimately this question cannot be answered. There's not a definitive answer to
Mhm.
this question because it depends on a lot of variables. However, I don't think most people, if they are looking for a real relationship, something solid, something monogamous, something committed, I don't think most people have ever regretted waiting. But I think that there have been occasions where people have probably jumped into it too quickly and miss the part where you actually build a relationship built on understanding each other psychologically, understanding each other emotionally, understanding each other's histories, just becoming friends. Because, like, why, we talk about it, but like, it's actually, it's a little weird, right? Like, you take off all your clothes, you like insert body parts in each other. Like, I'm picky about
Mhm.
who I eat meals with. I'm not gonna book a lunch or a dinner with somebody randomly, so why are we so casual about something like that? But, like, if you are not looking for something serious, the thing is, like, yeah, of course, there have been people who had sex on the first night and ended up getting married. Like, I understand there are, like, all these, you know, outliers. that basically the principle of waiting doesn't matter and people still fall in love. But like, I don't think I think it's a weird thing to jump into too casually, and I just feel like when most people do jump in too quickly and casually, that is basically what the relationship becomes about, and the relationship jumps to a level of intimacy that you actually haven't built together emotionally, and then it's like you're mismatched. It's like you're basically having sex with somebody and doing this sort of like pantomime of a relationship because you're having sex, but you actually don't know each other. And now that part of the relationship has to catch up. Otherwise, you're in two different places. Like, I think that like the physical intimacy should progress at the rate that like the psychological intimacy progresses simultaneously. And when one jumps the gun, usually the sex one, it makes it very hard to catch up.
So I mean, definitely, like, uh, if I have to say, like, do you think the timing is more about the external expectations, like, what to say, like the society, culture, even friends, or is it just more about where we are emotionally and spiritually within ourselves?
All of the above. If people are influenced by their friends, they're idiots. You know, like if that's like if you then you have other people in your relationship. Then you're not actually in a relationship. You're just playing a character for the sake of your friends. Like to a certain extent your friends should not be that involved
Mm.
or, yes, women talk more, but it's, I think in the way you mean men do it is probably, if they scored or not, as if it's a sporting event and, a woman is there for, you know, a game and a conquest. I think that's an immature guy and he should go spend more time with his friends and less time with women. Um,
Okay.
but sorry, what was the second half of that question? I don't want to go off on a
Oh,
tangent without.
okay. 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 So, I mean, basic thing was like, is it all about those society, culture, or friends, or is it more about when we are
Right,
emotionally and
who we are.
spiritually within ourselves?
Right. It should one would hope that that's where it is. That's your goal. It shouldn't be, some cultures, it depends, like there are obviously a lot of cultures that, you know, and you can't even say cultures in broad terms. There's so many aspects to culture, socioeconomic, subcultures, ethnicities, religions. Like there are way too many ways to slice it. And then family by family, that changes as well. Communities are very different. So you can be influenced by multiple different cultures simultaneously. Um, some are more puritanical and, think you should wait till marriage. I don't think we're in those times anymore. And I think but it really depends on the two people. If two people think that they should wait till marriage, then that's the right decision. Then that's the right decision for them. Whatever ultimately is good for the two people involved, assuming all things are equal and fair. If, that
Yeah.
this is a honest, straightforward romantic relationship between two consenting adults who want the same things out of life. That's actually the hard part. Sex, to a large extent, comes somewhat naturally, but like that, there are a lot of variables. Like, and you're talking different countries. Like, there are 100 variables involved, but it's like it really should be on the side that airs like on the personal, on the psychological, on the emotional, on the spiritual. I think when there are all these outside entities, which are they
Mm.
involved to a certain extent? Sure. Or are they living in your head? Are they just like the fear that you have programmed in? Is it the self judgment that you have programmed in? Do you have to share all your business with everybody? Why is your sex life
Mm.
such a public discussion in the first place? Like, I that's not necessary. Like, yeah, if you're in a relationship, it's presumed at some point in time you would be having sex. That's a natural part of a relationship. But like, why are all these other people involved? Are they going to bed with you as well? Like, are these just like monsters in your head?
Yeah, agree. I totally agree. Yeah, definitely. I mean, really love that because how you tied back to the self awareness rather than some arbitrary timeline. I mean, so many people forget that true intimacy actually starts long before the clothes come off. So, uh, yeah, exactly.
Like, you have to enjoy somebody's company, even if you are aiming for, especially if you are aiming for a relationship.
Yeah.
Say you live together. How many
Mm.
hours in the day are you spending having sex? Like, it will drop off, even if it's high at the beginning, it will drop off.
Yeah.
And then you will have meals with that person. You will wake up next to that person. You will go to sleep next to that person. You will be on drives with that person. You will be out together with that person. There will be a lot of downtime. You better like who you're hanging out with because, like,
Mm.
you will not be having as much sex as you think you're going to be having to fill up enough hours to make you overlook
True.
the fact that you dislike their personality.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. Yeah, yeah. And have you ever personally gotten like swept away by chemistry too early? Like
Yes.
I mean, because yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Never lasted.
Okay.
It was great while it lasted, but it never lasted. But yes,
Okay.
because like you have to, your hormones, your body, like the chemistry, yeah, that is those are dangerous cocktails. Like they will not make they will prohibit you from thinking clearly. Like, like that kind of oxytocin is very
Yeah.
addictive.
Exactly. And also, I mean, what did you learn from that experience?
All of them are bad. Like the thing is,
Good.
you learn a lot about your own body,
Yeah.
which is interesting. You learn like the thing is so much there are two sides of like healing, of self-development, of
Yeah.
understanding yourself. There is a large part of that is spent by yourself, but
Hmm.
ultimately you do not know who you are until you are actually involved with other people. That's the other half.
Hmm.
And you kind of go back and forth, and sometimes, you get into relationships, they teach you an enormous amount. You have
Hmm.
good memories, bad memories, whatever. You realize like you're not going to go the distance. You have too many differences than you have commonalities. This isn't functional long term. But not everything is a terrible experience either, and you grow so much from that. So then it's like, yeah, you often then retreat back and you go into your own cocoon and you do your own, self reflection and healing if it's necessary and, enjoy your freedom as well. Like I have I am often more social when I'm single than I am when I'm in a relationship. So then suddenly my schedule is always busier and I'm always going out more and so it's like you go back and forth, but ultimately you don't know who you are. You have to know who you are in isolation and you have to know who you are with people. And those are two sides of your own identity.
Hmm. Great. Completely. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I mean, such a relatable insight because uh, and I think that many of our listeners have danced on that fine line between desire and discernment. So yeah, exactly. And if you talk about the cultural baggage, like you have also you have lived across the continents, like London,
Mhm.
US, East Africa, and all. So
Oh, I never lived in
how
East
have
Africa. My parents did. I lived in Asia.
oh, okay, 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 go
Yeah.
ahead. So so from there, like, how have the different cultures you have experienced
Yeah.
actually shaped your views around the dating, sex, intimacy, or when intimacy should begin? So, what do you have to say?
Um, I think probably by and large, I matured, if I can kind of put element. I think part of it is age as well, and
Hmm.
so I think I matured basically with a more
Hmm.
American, but kind of more kind of Indian American view. And the thing is, like, even culture, our society has changed.
Yeah.
You know, I I graduated high school when I was 18. Obviously, that was 1998.
Yeah.
I went to college between 98 and '02 when I did my undergrad. The 90s and the early 2000s, we were all very different. Whether it was India, whether it was America, it doesn't matter.
Mm.
The world was very different. And so there w as a whole, if you had to look at the numbers in the population, people were having sex a lot later. Now you look at it and people are having sex, like, as almost children, like
Mm.
12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, like, are sexually active. That wasn't really a thing that I grew up with.
Mm.
You know, college, fine. I went to States in America. Had some boyfriends. But like I got married in my mid 20s. I was already married.
Mm.
So when I really started dating as an adult,
Mm.
I was already in my 30s and I was already divorced and I had a corporate career and I was living in Thailand and Singapore by myself.
Mhm.
I didn't need to answer to anybody but myself at that point.
Mhm.
And then I did. And if li- and I did, but like by and large, I personally have never been that. As much as I enjoy sex, I am not driven by sex.
Uh,
I am very, very much intellectually driven and emotionally and psychologically and spiritually driven.
mhm.
I do like so by and large, every
Mhm.
my I am more interested in the relationship first. I'm more interested in people. I'm more interested in psychology. And it's like once you kind of, yes, it helps if they are physically
Mm.
attractive. Obviously, no one's going to object. But if I don't like their personality, or frankly, if they're too
Mhm.
stupid to keep up, I don't want to have sex with them. Like, that's not a turn on, that's
Exactly.
a turn off.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm not
Exactly.
interested. So, you have to like I certainly I think men are far more physically driven. A lot of them are not paying attention to what comes out of a woman's mouth, or if they like her company as much as they are like,
Yeah.
oh, she's hot, she's not, and it's like I think that's to their detriment. I think you're probably missing out on like a lot of laughs and a lot of
Mm.
like good times and a lot of love with some like genuinely like brilliant, loving women because, like, when you think you like a hot girl just because of like a certain piece of her body or something, her breasts, her butt, whatever,
Mm.
you don't like that girl. You just like the butt. You just like the breasts. You just like that piece of
Exactly.
flesh. It could be attached to anybody.
Mm.
And it's like, I just think that men also, like, they should raise their standards and understand how, like, ridiculous it is to, like, be attracted to 5 pounds of fat than it is to a human being with a real, like, personality and face and sense of humor and intellect and, like, all
Mm.
the love and compassion that person carries and what that could do for your future. Like,
Yeah.
I think, like, when you're really looking for a partner, like, if that partner is really not, like, very, very good for your future, like,
Mm.
keep it moving.
Understood. That's very truly said. Yeah. And uh, so you mentioned about the spiritual part as well. So, do you believe that uh, sex can be a kind of sacred act of energetic exchange also, like uh,
Absolutely.
and yeah, and if so, then how do you protect your energy in this modern age? or
Yeah.
modern age of dating, basically. Yeah.
And I think that is the root of what people do not understand, which is why it is so dangerous about how casual everybody is about it. Everybody, that if they realize that sex is so energetic and so spiritual and so karmic, and that you basically, when you have sex with somebody, you are physically, spiritually, emotionally, like there are tethers between you. There are red
Mm.
strings like that, still lasts throughout distance. Who you exchange your energy with has permanent consequences. And it is very hard to, I think that is why like a massive part of healing and cleansing is celibacy. I think you absolutely have to have periods of celibacy when you have been like too, very intimate, too intimate, or even just,
Mm.
it is very powerful, it is very beautiful, and it is very dangerous. People don't realize like you're basically playing with magic at this point. Like you need to be very, very careful about who you have sex with, about it is amazing. Like I don't regret, some of my partners. Like I have been in beautiful relationships with them, and while we didn't go the distance, like that taught me a lot. That was a very but if it's especially if it's not going to last, that has
Mm.
consequences. And so you need to be very, very careful because like, yes, while sex is like fun and pleasurable, like there is a permanent energy exchange. And especially if the intentions are not pure on both sides, then one person is actually stealing energy from another person. And and because like I don't think we have the equal amount of energy. I think women have far more energy. So I think it is actually an extraction of a woman's energy more than anything, and letting a man actually be in you. It's not like you're in them, they're in you. That is a very, very different,
Exactly.
exchange of energy. And I think like that is why, women should be very aware of the privilege and that they, give to any man, and really, really consider like they are the prize, not the men. And it should be, and it should be looked at accordingly because because a woman can be celibate. Like we're not, as much as we like sex, like we're not that driven just the way men are. We don't function the same way. I know I'm only talking about heterosexual relationships here because there are too many variables, and I am heterosexual, so I won't speak on somebody of, on behalf of somebody of a different sexual orientation but my own. But I think that, yeah, we are not built the same way, and we are not driven by the same things ultimately. And frankly, a woman like women have friends, women have community, women have family. Like we have a lot of things built around us. Like you have to, often they're taken advantage of, and they're just sort of used as workhorses. That's atrocious. But like women are okay being celibate here and there. It's not a big deal. It's actually like when because then our energy is feeding us. And so it's actually pouring back, we're then our energy is just making us stronger and stronger. So actually celibacy is like great for a woman. Like she just gets better.
Mhm. True. Exactly. That's amazing. Yeah. And then, also, like, what advice would you give to men and women both, like in their 40s or just they're starting into 40s, uh, who are navigating dating again after major life transitions? So, what do you
Yeah.
say?
Oh God, there's so many things to watch out for. Um Yeah, I've talked about this on other podcasts as well. So, I mean, major life transitions. Are you referring to divorce in particular? Is that what we're talking
Yeah.
about? Or are we
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about, because,
Yeah, so it could be two things only. Either it could be divorce or it could be like losing the partner. So I mean, either ways, yes.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so those are such different,
Mm.
those are like night and day. And it depends. Say you're just let's just So let's separate them because I can't talk about
Okay.
them both simultaneously. So let's just talk about divorce, right?
Mhm.
The experience of that marriage and the divorce, you know, a lot of people have very, very loveless, sexless marriages. A lot of them have actually why that relationship fell apart was because they lacked physical intimacy, which you absolutely still need. And so they come out of those divorces in such cold, unloved places, unappreciated places. And I actually think that, like, when you're dating, it if you it depends how kind of strong and centered you are, but, like, there is also, I think, a lot of people come back to life when they are with somebody new, but also at the same time, if they're not ready, and that's only they can decide if they're ready, but it could be jarring at first because it's the first time you've been with somebody new in a long time. And it also could be amazing. And it could, like, completely, like, bring you back to life again. There are, so it really depends. It's like, did you get a divorce because you fell out of love? Did you get a divorce because somebody cheated? Did you get a divorce because there wasn't enough love? Did you get a divorce, because of something entirely? I have no idea. Like, there are 100 reasons. And so that will actually determine the type of place that they fall into. But I think, like, you don't need to it's so hard. Like, if it were one-on-one and somebody told me their situation, I'd be like, "All right, here's your strategy." But, like, when it's so many people, but, like, I think also not taking understanding that dating some of us have been dating for a very long time. And it doesn't mean I haven't met, like, eligible and dated, like, marriage, men that were I could have married, I did, but, like, I chose not to, so that you could be dating for a while, so not jumping into the 1st or 2nd, like, relationship you get into and thinking, "This is the one." And, everyone kinda goes through this phase where they think like, "Oh, I met the one, and that's what it was all for," and they look at it all, like, romantically and serendipitously and think all the planets have aligned, and really, like, it's not gonna last as long as you think it is, and the person that you think you found, like, their radar is not up enough because, frankly, like, they're out of shape. They haven't been dating. So they don't know what they're looking at. I think a lot of people coming out of divorces and or if they've been recently widowed, they're out of shape. And so, like, they don't know how to date and they don't know the good and the bad, mostly the bad signs of, like, how to read a person clearer, how to read a person more accurately. And also a lot of people play games. A lot of people really misrepresent themselves. A lot of people they wear masks, they misrepresent themselves to themselves, let alone to other people. So you don't know who you're really dealing with. You're dealing with their representative for the first year, 6 months at a minimum. I think everyone I don't trust anyone for the first 6 months until I see them on the other side. And then you start to see who that person is. So I think, like, if they understand that it takes time and sometimes, once in a while the stars might align, but, like, this might just be another story, another anecdote at some point. Like, do not take everything so seriously and think like you found the answer. Like, odds are you haven't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And oh, that's really, uh, such a wisdom because it's never really about the number of dates, but it's the depth of self knowing. So, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. And yeah, you're saying something, please.
No, no, go ahead.
Okay. So, and also, like, if you had to write uh, your personal pleasure principles rule book, so suppose it's a rule book for 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 when to have sex with someone that you are dating, what would be your top three principles?
I mean, it would probably I would need to have seen and really spent a lot of time with that person. So, it would probably be like a number of dates, a number of weeks, perhaps a number of months. I don't know. Like until I feel it's not even a number, it's until I feel safe. And if I don't
Ah.
feel like I know a person well enough to feel safe with them, I don't care. I could know them for a year or 2 years. I don't care. If I don't feel
Mm.
safe with them, it's like I'm not interested. So I think like a lot of it is really it's hard to describe because so much of it is just internal. It is intuition,
Yeah.
it is emotion, it is how your body feels. It is all it's how you behave. It's how natural are you with that person. And, do you hold things back? Are you still doing this sort of like dance to make them like you? Do you even really like them? Or are you just like lonely or bored or, they sort of tick some boxes and so you're just playing it through?
Mm.
Like there are a lot of things, but like, the safety, the trust, the honesty, like I don't because especially for women, you're physically putting yourself in a dangerous
Mm.
position. Do not do that casually. The world is dangerous enough. Do not put yourself in a dangerous position. Like like there are too many you're already fighting for your safety on the best of days. So, that safety, that trust, and even then people could surprise you. That's the crazy part. So it's like you're still, I don't know if the odds are in your favor. They're still 50-50. But
Mm.
so, okay, that would be one. Um, do I even really like could I have a future with this person? Like does or is this just does this not really work? And you kind of know that. Everyone knows that to a certain extent.
Mm.
And I think fundamentally I think we've overlooked it. I'm like, do I like this person? Do I really like them? You know what I mean? Like everybody's interesting at the beginning because especially if you're just someone like me who just likes getting to know people. Like I'm just interested in the psychology of humans. I'm interested in the psychology of like even of animals, like of everything. Like I just want to know why everything works and how people work the way they do.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I like a man with a good sense of humor. I like a man who can teach me things. I like a man who is ambitious. I like a man who's generous. There are a lot of different variables in there as well, but it's like fundamentally, do I like this person? Like, do I want to hang out with them? Do I want to see them more? Like, are we even on the same page about half the things?
Yeah.
Like, and if I don't, then it's like, all right, like, and a lot of men who I have met men on dating apps who I have not been interested in romantically, but who have genuinely become friends of mine. Like, you might
Okay.
meet cool people. Like,
Mm.
there are a lot of cool people who don't necessarily, match what you're looking for romantically, but there are lots of cool people in the world. Like,
Okay.
maybe they're not as happy about being friend zoned, but like whatever. Like, like that's all they're gonna get, and they know it.
Okay.
So, like, they behave themselves.
Amazing. Yeah. Ooh. So what a lovely conversation. Thank you so much for bringing your whole self to this space, and uh, definitely your stories, your wisdom, and also at the same time, I'd say you have shown us the intimacy isn't just about some universal clock. It's all about the personal alignment and honoring both the body and the soul. So that's the good part of it for sure. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and for all the listeners, like, let this episode be your permission to slip to pause, reflect, and rewrite your own pleasure principles. Because whether you are starting over or starting fresh or maybe starting late, your truth is valid and your timing is definitely sacred. So don't forget to check out Padmini's amazing YouTube channel, Pieces of Miss Minnie, where these conversations continue with the raw honesty and the soulful depth. So, and also, like, if someone wants to connect with you, what will be the best medium apart from YouTube?
You can also find me on Instagram, also under Pieces of Miss Minnie, and you can send me a message there or, leave a comment somewhere, but that's a pretty straightforward way to do it.
Amazing, amazing, great. So great. So with this hope, dear listeners, until next time, stay curious, stay open, and stay tuned to Pleasure Principles. This is your host Avik signing off. Thank you so much.